What up, guys? So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be learning about countries, aka países. So today we're going to be learning about el país Argentina, which is a Spanish-speaking country. Oh, just a little tip. We're only going to be learning about the Spanish-speaking countries. So now this first one today is going to be about Argentina. So to learn about Argentina, it's kind of different to our Spanish. You know, like their accent is a little bit different. Or, like their conjugations might be a little bit different. Everything is different in Argentina. And I'm going to be showing you, and if you're curious to see what the flag looks like of Argentina, I'm going to be showing you the flag. Then I'm going to be showing you a full-length video of somebody explaining the accents of Argentina.
The universal characteristics of Argentine Spanish will be the Y and the double L. Instead of pronouncing that like a Y or a J, they make it more of an SH sound. So instead of saying yo, they may say yo. Instead of calle, they'll say calle. Desarrollo becomes desarrollo. Desarrollo with Argentine Spanish will be the D. The D will kind of just be slurred. For example, que copado will become que copado. Que copado. You see how it's like, I try to make the D sound, but my teeth just don't touch where they need to touch? That's how it is. Que copado. Or boludo. Boludo. I'm not saying boludo, pero boludo. Boludo, pero que copado. That will be the Argentine we have, will be the S's. The S's are very similar to the Venezuelan S, where they will be aspirated, unless you want to just go and outright say the full S. So for example, one word that they use a lot is la posta. La posta is like the truth. In Dominican Spanish, it's la pura. In Mexican Spanish, it's neta, So in Argentina, they'll say la posta. But instead of saying la posta, it'll be like la posta. Posta. La posta. Loco, ¿qué estás haciendo? So you see, I didn't say loco, ¿qué estás haciendo? Pero loco, ¿qué estás haciendo? An alternative, where in some regions, or depending on the person, you may take the S off at the end, but this is less common. I would say this is less common. For example, instead of saying vamos los pibes, I may say vamos los pibes. You will become used to this the more you practice, the more you study Argentine Spanish. The word, and it depends on the person. For example, the phrase ¿qué te pasa? What's wrong with you? What's the matter? ¿Qué te pasa? In Argentine Spanish may sound like ¿qué te pasa? Boludo, ¿qué te pasa? So instead of saying ¿qué te pasa? ¿Qué te pasa? It's just it's a small difference, not the major thing. But also, some E's, like let's say it's the E at the end of an ER verb, it may change from the E sound to more like a, I'm just going to give you an example. Yo no sé lo que vamos a hacer. So it's not like hacer, like so harsh, but hacer. Yo no sé lo que vos querés hacer. That kind of sound for the ER verbs at the end. But another characteristic while we're at it for the universal Argentine accent will be the voceo. Voceo. I have a video talking about this called tu versus vos. It teaches you how to use the voceo. So I'm not going to go through a whole explanation of it here. I'm going to give you just a brief run through. But pretty much vos is used instead of tu and ti. So tu when it means you, and ti obviously only means you. So when you're talking about your, you will still use tu. But when you want to say you will use vos. For example, yo no sé lo que vos querés. I don't know what you want. Yo no sé lo que vos querés. You may wonder, why am I saying querés instead of quieres? Here, when you use vos, you're going to form your verbs a little differently. It's only gonna work in the tu form, or the vos form. And what you do is you take your infinitive and you take the R off of that infinitive, and then you add an S and you accent that second to last vowel. For poder, take the R off, add an S, accent the E, and it's podés. The last syllable is sharp. Sabes. bailas, vivís. The commands are also going to be conjugated very similarly. If I want to say follow me on Instagram, seguime en Instagram. If I want to say tell me, decime, decime. So instead of saying dime, I will say decime. So that's vos. That's a little crash course on vos and how to conjugate with that. But like I said, check out that 2 versus vos video to get the full context of how to use vos en español, because that's all Argentinians are going to use. They don't use tú unless it's talking about your, as I mentioned before. An irregular thing that they have with the vos form will be sos. So if I want to say where are you from, I won't say de dónde eres tú. I would say de dónde sos vos, okay? Instead of de dónde eres tú, de dónde sos vos. Pronounces the R's like this. Depends on which region you're from, in the Cordobés region. But it's really interesting. Instead of saying the R, the R will be more like ella, ella. I don't know if this is because they can't roll their R's or not, but this is the sound that comes out. So instead of ferrocarril, it will be ferrocarril. Or instead of río, río. Instead of carro, carro. Okay? However, when you have an R or an S at the end of a word, they both may disappear. For example, vamos a bailar esta noche, it will become vamos a bailar esta noche. Another interesting thing would be the C when it's by a T in Cordobés. The C kind of gets ignored. It's a very minor thing, but if you listen, you will hear it. So for example, el actor actúa bien. For them, it will be el actor actúa bien. So the C gets cut out pretty much when it's next to a T like that. Contrary to the rest of Argentina, the Y and the double L are not going to be sh, sh. It's going to be pretty much how everyone else says it, which is the regular, y sound. Where the Rio Platense may say calle, but el Cordobés will say calle, calle. And obviously, I talked about the S at the end being cut off. The S is usually aspirated too with the el acento Cordobés. In Córdoba, they can have this kind of elongating the words kind of effect. It's like the accent before the accented part of the word. For example, personas, you hear how I say personas, they will say las personas. With a word like palabra, they may say palabra, palabra. Another interesting characteristic about Córdoba is that if you have a word that ends in os, that word can kind of change into hoy. Also, if you have a word that ends in as, then that can change into I. The I part is actually very similar to Chile. I heard that in Chile they do that a lot as well. Para donde vas will become pan de vay. Let's say that you have a word that ends in ER, but you want to say it in a to form, then it may end up being E at the end. So for example, que quieres would really be in Argentinian Spanish, que querés. But some people may say in Córdoba, que querí, que querí. En vez de sabes, they may say sabí. If they have somebody that they're talking about and they mention their name, instead of saying Ricky canta la canción, they will say el Ricky.
So yeah, so that's pretty much the Argentina accent. You know how they speak Spanish in Argentina. So yeah, so that's only the first country, so stay tuned for more. So yeah, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hasta pronto. Hasta luego. Oh, and also, I learned a new slang word to say hasta luego, which means see you later, which is ay nos guachamos. Ay nos guachamos. Anyways, guys, hasta luego, hasta pronto, ay nos guachamos.